The Teacher Portal has a gradebook tool available for all educators to document and track evidence of student learning in compliance with growing success. This video will show you how to create an assessment using the gradebook tool within Encompass Teacher Portal. So to create an assessment, you'll first need to go to the Aqua Gradebook ribbon and navigate to the Gradebook Overview area. Once you land in this area, you can simply click on Create New Teacher Assessment. If you are a teacher with multiple classes, before creating your new teacher assessment, don't forget to make sure that you're selecting the class first. So if you have access to, like in secondary, multiple classes, select your class and then click on Create New Teacher Assessment. Once you land to the assessment configuration area, you'll simply give the assessment a reading passage, name. Perhaps the reading passage was a book called The Yellow Dragon, so you can give a description as detailed as you'd like attached to this assessment. By default, it will create today as the assessment date, but you can definitely use the calendar and enter this assessment for any date. You can indicate whether it's to be handed in, which is connected to the parent portal in terms of being able to notify them if things are late. And you can share this configuration page. So once you set this up, you can either share it within your school if you're team teaching with another educator, or within the board if you're working on an assessment across schools. So for right now, I'm just going to share it with myself. The weight area, this just informs how the calculated average is created. Now, when determining a final mark on a report card, we want to make sure that we're always using our professional judgment before providing an evaluation mark. But for the calculated average within the gradebook, you can weight it as 0, which means it will not be included in the calculated mark. So that would be assessment as learning. And if it's assessment of learning, you can indicate the weight. So a weight of 5 would be counted 5 times as much as a weight of 1, and any combination in between. So once you select the weight, you can also tag it to a category of an evaluation type. So perhaps this was an observation in my class, so I'm going to code it as observation. The grade that, because I'm in a 1-2 split, I'm going to just have this assessment for my grade 1s, and you can go back and create an additional assessment for the grade 2s if you'd like. Again, you can use the reporting period to tag it to the right term. So this was an assessment done at the beginning of September, and so I'm going to include it in my report period 1 for easy navigation when I'm determining a report card grade for different terms. And then this assessment I'm going to include as language reading. Now down below, you can decide which categories are going to be evaluated across the achievement chart. And so for this one, perhaps I'm just looking at knowledge and maybe application. The assessment category weight, again, perhaps this assessment was, overall weight of 3, but perhaps within the assessment, this was much more weighted for knowledge and understanding than it was for application. So maybe application I might weight as 1, but knowledge and understanding would be weighted as 3. And by default, the approach is always recorded in levels. So once you set up this configuration tab and click Next, you'll notice that a variety of additional tabs appear. And you can complete as much or as little in some of these tabs as you would like, but the Marks tab needs to be complete before finishing the assessment. So in the Achievement Chart top tab, you can actually select individual areas of the achievement chart. Now, because I only selected knowledge and understanding as well as application, those are the only areas that appear. Under expectations, you can actually select the overall or specific expectation that this assessment was addressing, and it will actually create a running tally or count of the number of times that you've assessed that curriculum expectation over the course of the course. Under the students, here's where you can identify whether this assessment was for all students or perhaps it was just an assessment for some students. If you're doing some differentiated instruction or assessment, this gives you the ability to create assessments for all or some. I'm just going to show you for some students here. When you go to the marks area, you'll notice that only these 3 students appear, and you can either include a mark by selecting the drop-down menu. So perhaps there was a level 3 for knowledge and maybe a level 1 for application. The quick buttons, if you want a level 1, you simply press the number 1 numeric key and it toggles from plus to the number to minus. So if I want a 1 minus, I select the number 1 key 3 times. In order to navigate to the side, you press the tab key. So maybe this is a level 4. So I'm going to click the number 4 key twice. And to toggle down, you simply press the enter button. So maybe application for this student was 3 minus, and for knowledge, it was a level 2. So you'll see that as I'm entering in these marks, that a calculated average does appear. You can also indicate whether this was an achievement level, including multiple attempts. So if you wanted to just flag that this wasn't the first opportunity, but perhaps a second or third opportunity, or whether a student was absent and no mark is assigned. This is especially useful when you're creating assessments for an entire class. Additionally, on the right-hand side, you can add a comment. So perhaps you wanted to make reference to a particular skill or something of interest, perhaps that you'd want to go back to when writing the report card. You could say, like the student, a student comment here. They did really well in this skill or in this area, or I liked how they added this component to this section of the assessment. So you can record a comment for each student. Additionally, you can upload an artifact by clicking on the student artifact button here. You can also record learning skills. So this is another opportunity. So for example, you might want to, in this assessment, maybe look at their organization. So you can record the learning skill either by using the drop-down menu or by selecting the letter key on your keyboard. Once you have completed this assessment, you simply click Next, and the assessment is recorded. So by default, it'll bring you back to the gradebook overview, and here's where you can look at class averages overall, as well as within the different categories. You can see different assessments, achievement levels for different students. You can view all of the different information in the student table below. Hopefully this email or this video helps you create a teacher assessment.